Alright, back to practicing my welding. The advice I've been getting is quite abundant, to say the least. And it seems like there's several theories on what I'm doing wrong, or opinions I should say. And a lot of them make perfect sense to me. Some of them I'll be able to try and rectify, or some of the suggestions I'll be able to try and implement, and some I won't. But one of the things I had read online, and a couple of commenters had mentioned that sounds like could possibly be a problem, is humidity in those rods. Those rods that I've got are old. They were given to me with the machine. Been kicking around for quite a while. So what I've got here is I've got an old toaster oven that I use for heating things up. And unfortunately the rods won't quite fit in there. I could trim them a little shorter, but what I'm doing is I'm just running them. I've got it on, and it's getting pretty hot. And I'm just going to leave those and let those cook a little while I finish setting up and putting my safety gear on. Oh, I also wanted to mention, many of you will be pleased to hear that I am currently actively pursuing the acquisition of a replacement camera for this old Pure Digital brand flip video camera that has the come and go audio. For all I know, as I'm recording this, the audio may be completely junk, or it may be perfectly perfect, but or perfectly fine, but needless to say, we are going to replace this camera. In the meantime, I'm going to be using this camera a little bit today, and then I'm also going to I've also mounted my Sony digital camera on the tripod, so when I'm actually doing the arc, I'll try and get in close on it with that, and the video quality is definitely going to be better on that. I just don't like using this camera because it's a little cumbersome, and it's also too nice of a camera to be getting grease all over, so when I'm working on motors and stuff, I don't tend to want to use this. The last time I used this was for the fuel injector pump project on the Oliver. I had this mounted on a tripod most of the time, so I only had to touch it with my pinky to start it and stop it occasionally. Enough about that. Alright, I've also got to closely monitor my cell phone because the cell service is a little sketchy, and I don't want to miss a call from the FedEx driver that I missed this morning, because he is delivering Daddy's Father's Day present that he bought himself this past week. And I think you guys are going to get a kick out of this. But I'll leave that as a little surprise for later. And hopefully it's going to, I'm going to be able to meet the FedEx driver at a company here in town on his way back through and grab it today, since it required a signature. But enough about that for now. Okay, so one of the general opinions was that my arc wasn't hot enough for the thickness of metal that I'm attempting to burn into. So we're going to start this morning. We were at 145, and we're going to crank that up all the way to 180. And let's see, we'll probably go with that same thickness of 6011 rod that I had been attempting with last time. That doesn't make sense, that I was attempting to strike arcs with last time. Oh yeah, one more thing. I briefly mentioned the Shelter Logic shelter that I was assembling. Well, there it is. I've just got to do a couple more things to finish it up, but it's pretty much all set to go. So my wife's on vacation with her sisters, and it's going to be the perfect time for me to clean up the yard and put all of this stuff she's tired of seeing laying around the yard all the time undercover and out of sight, spiff up the yard, and that'll make her happy. So it's always a good idea to keep the wife happy. This rod that's in there now in the Stinger is 6011 1P or 6011 IP or 60111P. So I'm not sure. I'll have to Google that later. Meantime, just try and weld with it and see what happens. Okay, another change I made is I've changed the shade to shade 10 on the helmet. That's a lot better. Whoops, kind of drove off the road there. I got to set the shade 10, but I'm still having a little bit of difficulty seeing the puddle. I think something fell down that gap right there into my glove. Alright, reposition the camera so we can get a good look at the unveiling here. Boy, whatever that rod is, the slag. Seems to be a little tough to remove. That isn't the slag, that's the weld. It's weird. We'll get a load of this rod. It says 10016D2. 10016D2. I don't know, the camera's not focusing on it, of course. Well, anyways, I think I'll pass on using that one until I look up what that is. Oh, here's a straight 6011 rod. Turned over my piece of metal so I can start fresh. And try and actually run a bead in a fairly straight line along that edge. And then see if I can't repeat the process and do a bunch of parallel beads. That's much better. Still seems like shade 10's too dark though. I decided to stop right there. And now I can't get it to restart. It's almost like the welder decided it doesn't want to push the power anymore. Wow, look at the flux coating on that rod. It's all cracked. I'm going to try a new rod and I'm going to try and make a new pass. Oop. Well, that was not the FedEx driver I was hoping it would be. Alright guys, explain to me why if I run this halfway down and then I stop and I try and start another bead, I have so much trouble. Again, the flux coating on that rod's all cracked off, all cracking. I wonder if that's basically telling me these rods are junk. Oh, that's interesting. Let it cool for a second, then it worked. Does anybody else notice what I'm noticing? The fan is slowing down a lot when I'm welding. I'm thinking my welder's not getting enough power. Maybe it's my undersized extension cord that's giving me trouble. Now I know running a couple of beads doesn't make me anywhere near qualified enough to actually try and weld my little repair here, but I'm getting impatient, so I want to try again. But I just realized the piece that I had clamped over here fell off, and I've only got these two. I've got 3 arms, so I'm missing one. And I've looked all around on the ground here because I had to take this off the wagon, but I didn't really move it that far, and I can't find it anywhere, which really troubles me because that makes me think that maybe this part that I'm missing fell onto the wagon and I didn't notice it. And then what would happen is, when I was driving the wagon to where I was going the other day across the field, it may have bounced out Could be anywhere.